Yo, Hoopalings, Hoopa here, and there's been a new game taking the internet by storm lately. Whether the discussions have been good or bad, it's a discussion point, and I'm going to throw my proverbial hat in the ring. And that game, Palworld. Now, I didn't want to talk about Palworld. I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. I never wanted to talk about Palworld for a couple of reasons. One, I don't know if it's ever going to be finished. If it is, that is fantastic, and I hope that they get their money's worth for Palworld. I just didn't want to talk too much about it because of all the controversy around Palworld. I've heard they've stolen content, I've heard they've stolen models, I've heard they used AI. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't believe any of it. I'll get into that. But before we get started, I want you guys to know that this is a ranking system video where I rank from 1 to 10 each category that I have for it. Whether it be the world, whether it be the Palmon, or whatever they are, I'm going to give it a scale from 1 to 10. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give my overall score and let you guys know my actual feelings about it. So without any further ado, let's go. Let's start off with the world. So overall, the world is very fun, very open, very well explorable. My only problem with the world is the simple fact that even though it's very open and easily explored, a lot of it is empty. Now, I know it's a beta, I know it's an open beta, but this game is not going to be on the Switch. It's a Pokemon competitor, even if they try to make it not be a competitor, unintentionally or intentionally, it is. And because of that, Nintendo is not going to let it be on their console. But that's really, really good, and let me tell you why. Because it's not going to be on the Switch. It's not going to have to be limited to the Switch hardware. It's on Xbox. I'm trying to point to my Xbox, but it's off screen. And it's for PC, which means the performance is significantly higher. And because its performance is that much higher, they have the opportunity to make this game run better than any 3D Pokemon game ever made. And that's really cool and very well for the environment the way it is. The environment itself, each zone and each island is very, very beautiful in its own right. You have certain places that have an autumn theme with red grass and red tree leaves, and it's all just beautiful. You have tundras, you have volcanoes and like Mountain City and lush green plains, and it's just all so beautiful. Not to mention the crystal clear water is just, oh my god, it's fantastic. But my biggest issue with it is what I mentioned just a second ago. A lot of it just seems empty. There are some sections that have a good portion of pals just scattered around, but overall it's just really, really empty, it seems like, to me personally. And it's kind of bad because of the performance that this game gives. Now, I've had problems out of lag and things like that after playing it so long, but I'm going to get more into stuff like that later on in the video. So, as far as the environment goes, looks really, really good. I just wish that the Palmon were more spread out and more, what's the word I'm looking for? More, I wish more would spawn in the world, right? I couldn't think of the word I was thinking of. So, I do wish that more would spawn in the world. And that's not really the only problem I have. It's one of the bigger problems. The main problem that I have with the world, though, is the texturing. Now, again, it's a beta. I can understand that. wholeheartedly. but its texturing in certain places seems non-existent or just outright sloppy. Let's take Mount Obsidian, for example, or Obsidian Mountain. When you go and you start climbing up certain places, the textures seem stretched and muddled. Now, before anybody flames me in the comments over my defense of Scarlet and Violet Sword and Shield and the trees, let me explain why this bothers me, but the trees and other things don't in Pokemon. Let's start with Pokemon. First off, Pokemon is a cartoony RPG game. It's not meant to be realistic. And the trees are just passing. I'm not going to stand at a tree and analyze its texture because it's just there. There's no interacting with the tree unless you're looking for something like Pineco or Slackoff. So, or Apple. So there's no reason to pay attention to the tree. But when it's up in your face like a mountain and you climb it and the game looks realistic in most of its textures, when you see a stretched out and muddled texture like that, it kind of throws your experience off a little bit. So let's dig into this a little bit deeper. So it could be different now, but when I was playing around with Unreal Engine, you had this little box, and in that box you could test out terrain and movement of characters. And in that terrain, 90% was untextured. You could texture it if you wanted to, but most, if not all of it, was untextured. Checkered texture is what I like to call it. It's just a blank slate, almost JPEG level of nothing there. And it just was there. The environments and things, however, were white, untextured, like a piece of drawing paper or printer paper. And that's what certain sections of Obsidian Mountain by itself looks like. And in Unreal Engine, there is a texture wrap where you can take the model of the creature or the environment that you want to have a certain texture, you can put it into a bicubic wireframe looking room and slap on the texture and edit it and fix it the way you need it to. But if you stretch it too far, it will look, well, it'll look muddled and stretched and blurry, and that's what my experience has been on Obsidian Mountain. I haven't really had that many issues with other sections, but Obsidian Mountain seems to be the worst of it all. There have been a couple here and there, a couple mountains here and there, but at least they had a grayish brown color that lets you know that it's textured or supposed to be, so it kind of makes sense. Then you have Obsidian Mountain that looks like somebody either didn't texture it or just didn't bother to add the extra details. Now, I know, again, beta, and some of you might even say, Hoopa, it could be granite rock. Well, that's fine, that's fine. But I think a little more detail here and there would make it so much better. Overall, with environment and the open world exploration part of it, and just the pure beauty of it, I give the world 8.5 out of 10. It's really, really good. Now, let's talk about the crafting and building of the game. Now, I don't know why people are saying it's clunky. I don't have their experience. If you guys know what they're talking about, leave it in the comment section down below, because I really want to know what they're talking about. as far as my experience goes, the crafting and building aspects of the game are just, they're fluid. I mean, they're not completely polished, but they're not clunky. I can make things no problem. The only thing I can say that I dislike about the crafting system is the fact that your recipes are held back by what level you are. Now, some people might say, well, that's perfect, you're not overpowered at level 1 because you got certain crafting recipes or things like that. And that's understandable. I can see why you say that. However, because there are no level scaling in this game, just like any other open world RPG, it's really, really difficult to go catch a POW that you want. And because of that, you don't get certain items you need to make certain things. So yeah, I don't really care much for the level cap that you have on these different recipes. I'm level 20 now on Palworld, and I just now got the weapons table, the weapons crafting table, and it's just aggravating, I guess. But I guess that's a nitpick here and there. Overall, I haven't really had any problems with the crafting. I haven't had any problems with the building of different buildings and these different items like workbenches and repair tables and stuff like that. I haven't had trouble with stuff like that. So it could be better, but it could be a lot worse. And because of that, I give it an 8 out of 10. So, the story. There is no story. 0 out of 10. Let's talk about the gameplay. And the gameplay is also in run for contention of what people call clunky. And I don't see it. It's your standard run-of-the-mill RPG battle system. It's just your average battle system. It's like Digimon World Next Order. You can go, you have your creatures, you can go, you battle whatever you want, they'll battle for you. You can help them in this game by shooting things or punching them or hacking them up with a pickaxe or an axe or, you know, just the normal. But other than that, it's just typical non-turn-based RPG combat. It's not really clunky or anything like that. Not that I've seen. So I don't really see... As far as gameplay goes, the only thing that I can really say about, as far as like not working the way it should, is the fact that there are certain times where you throw a POW sphere, and even though it connects with the POW, it just bounces off like you hit an environmental item. So I guess that's really the only clunky thing that I found. It's not really game breaking to me. It's not really anything too major. It's just they need to put more effort into the hitboxes and how they trigger that event. So overall, the gameplay, I mean, it's just standard non-turn-based RPG combat and your standard open world exploration for modern day games. So overall, 7 out of 10. It could be a lot better, but it couldn't really be much. It couldn't be much better, couldn't really be much worse either. So 7 out of 10. And finally, we have the most controversial part of Palworld, the POWs. Now, before I get into the POWs, I do want to state that apparently, now this could be a hoax, it could be a lie, so don't shoot the messenger. This is just what I've seen, just what I've heard. Apparently the modder who went into the files of Palworld and claimed that they stole models from Game Freak, made it all up. Now I'm not saying that's what they said. I'm not saying that's true that they said it, but that's just what I've seen. If it comes out that in fact they did do that, then all bets are off. So let's talk about the pals now. As far as the pals go, I don't have a problem with any of them. Yes, there are pals that bear striking resemblances to certain Pokemon. There's the Cinderace one. There's the one that looks a lot like Luxray. And then there are ones that people can draw comparisons to, like Vixie being a Eevee clone, or Creamy being an Eevee clone, or anything like that. There are ones that are really big stretches, like Daydream being a Hoopa clone, which makes no sense. It's like a rabbit. Rebunny being a Bunny Sylveon, again, makes absolutely no sense, because the only similarity between Rebunny and Sylveon are the ribbons. And the most ridiculous one that I have seen, that is the biggest stretch whatsoever, Mao being an Umbreon clone. Let me tell you why that makes no sense. Mao is a cat, an Egyptian short-hair cat, to be precise. Its whole inspiration is Egyptian mythology. Egyptians worshipped cats. It's named after the word a cat can say, or the sound, and the Egyptian name for cats, a Mao. It's not Umbreon. I've seen people draw comparisons to the Glacia form to Glaceon. That makes no sense, again, because, again, it's a cat. It's a cat. There are other examples, like that weird cat thing with a stem in its mouth being compared to Tangrowth. Again, makes no sense. It's a cat thing. I've seen the penguin in Palworld be compared to Piplup. They're both penguins. You can't really get creative there. They're penguins. I'm trying to think of something else that's really... I've seen a lot of accusations of these pals being rip-offs of Pokemon. But here's what you guys need to understand about the RPG style that these people are going for as far as the creature capture aspect of it. Every single creature that has an inspiration has to take liberties with something. Pokemon took from Dragon Quest. Palworld was inspired by certain Pokemon. There are some Pokemon that I truly believe need to be slightly redesigned, because Creamy just has Eevee's head. It's just a lot fluffier. That's my biggest thing here. Most of the pals are unique. Anubis was the other one that I'm thinking of that's like Lucario, but it makes no sense because it's literally just Anubis. It's the Egyptian god of the dead, Anubis. It's got a dog head, it's got human hands, it's got dog-like feet, just like Anubis had, or as he is described in Egyptian mythology. So, because there are so many more unique pals than there are inspired pals or just blatant rip-offs of pals, I'm going to have to give it a 9 out of 10. I do think there are certain ones that definitely need to be redesigned, but there are ones that are completely opposite and different from Pokemon. Like, there's one that's supposed to be the Cheshire Cat that they seemingly put Galarian Meowth's eyes and teeth on. Yeah, I guess that one. But again, that's just a texture swap that they can fix. But overall, yeah, 9 out of 10. There are comparisons that people make to Pokemon and Pals that make no sense. Especially one like the cat, the little pink cat being compared to Meowth makes no sense. The cat barely has a tail. Meowth has a long brown and white tail. The cat is much bulkier in build than Meowth. Its head shape is different. Its face shape is different. The whiskers and the tuft of hair on top of its head instead of a coin, it's all just different and can't be compared to Meowth. So, yeah, definitely 9 out of 10 just because a lot of them are more creative. So, what is Hoopa's overall rating for? So, what is Hoopa's overall rating for Palworld? Well, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It can be improved upon, but it could have been so much worse, right? If the game is to be finished, which I hope it is, then it has the opportunity and potential to be one of the best games on the Xbox and PC. Not the best, but one of the best. Right now, it is really good for being a beta. They could do something to really mess it up. But overall, 8 out of 10. My thoughts on it is it's got potential that's not being realized quite yet. I do enjoy the game. It's really, really fun. I almost didn't make a video this week because I was so addicted to this game that I completely forgot to write a script for my What Are They, Who Are They series that I do this week, or I do once a week on this channel. So that video will have to come out next week, which is kind of good because I did some research on the subject that I'm going to be doing for that video, but that it's going to take a lot more research to get that video even started. So yeah, I'm not going to be talking about Palworld again on this channel unless something happens with it. Again, Palworld is a lot of fun, but I'm a Pokemon channel first and foremost. I'm a PokeTuber, so that's what my content is going to be reflected on. If you guys do want to see more on Palworld, leave it down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, how about you shadow punch that like button? And to be notified of more videos that I'm going to be doing, and if you guys want to see those videos, how about you break swipe that subscription button and the notification bell. Hope to see you guys in the next video. My name is Hoopa, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.